The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome, Deadites. I'm feeling at least slightly better, so I'm going to try giving you another one. Now, I'll state this in advance. If you haven't read the Bleach manga, this will possibly breach spoiler territory. Alright, so I should lay down some groundwork here. Ichigo's parents are unchanged. As a matter of fact, we're in Karakura, a town adjacent to Mustafu. One train ride would be enough to get you there. So, who knows? Maybe at some point a certain UA Academy could be a thing. But for right now, let's focus on Ichigo. So I'm sure you're wondering about Ichigo's family. Well, once again, it's unchanged for the most part. Ichigo wasn't exactly born without complications, however. That child was born dead. But by some miracle, his heart began to beat. The doctors did their job somehow. To this day, they have no clue how they revived him. And a cry escaped from his mouth. As far as Ishin goes, his past is completely unchanged, for the most part. Like I said, for the most part. Masaki and Ishin thought Ichigo was a normal little boy who would develop a normal quirk, or at least that was the hope. It was a day like any other, except for the fact that there was a sudden downpour. Bleach fans probably know what's about to happen. Ichigo sees the lure and takes the bait. However, this time around, he noticed the truth and was weary from the start. Masaki utilized not her quirk, but Blute to get to Ichigo. She didn't make it. Grand Fisher brought down his attack, but something snapped in Ichigo. Don't worry, I've got us. A mask formed on Ichigo's face for not even a millisecond, and out of Ichigo's mouth escaped a giant red ball of energy. This wasn't a Sero, but a Grand Sero. Ichigo had heard the voice, but he passed out after the Grand Sero escaped him. Masaki looked at her child and saw his soul ribbon. It's red. But that wasn't a Shinigami ability. She had seen that ability used by Hollows. She grabbed her son and ran home. Ishin, for at least 2 seconds, was mesmerized by the sight of his wife. She's wearing rather light clothing, and she's soaking wet, to give you a visual there. But then he noticed his son. I'll call Urahara. The phone rang once, twice. On the third ring. This is Kisuke Urahara speaking. Ishin gave Kisuke the lowdown. Bring him over tomorrow. It's gotten really bad outside. I don't suggest going out. Ishin wanted to get this over with as soon as possible, but Kisuke was right. It was an utter typhoon outside. Sighing, the Kurosaki parents resigned to this fate. What do we do about Ichigo? I'm not worried about the Shinigami part, but that blast. It was definitely a Sero. Ishin hugged his wife. We'll cross that line when we get there. Hopefully, it's just his quirk. Masaki didn't see the mask, so she has no clue on that one. Now, if she did, Ishin's actions might have changed, but she didn't. So they'd be going straight to Urahara. The next day comes by, and it's clear skies. The clinic is closed for the day, and the twins are going with them to meet Kisuke. As soon as they get out of the car, Ichigo charges at a tall black woman with purplish black hair. Auntie Yoruichi! Yoruichi gladly caught the leaping child and smothered him with kisses. Well, hello there, Ichigo. How's my favorite godson doing? Ichigo giggled a childish laugh. I'm not even going to bother trying, for, well, reasons. Auntie, I'm your only godson. Ichigo is now on Yoruichi's shoulders, an ear-to-ear smile on his face. Then he saw something out of the corner of his eye. The spirit was stealing candy. Yoruichi was about to do something about that, but you shouldn't steal. It's bad. That made it clear. Ichigo could see spirits and interact with them as well. Ichigo has always been able to, well, sense spirits, but it's been about a week before the attack, so he can tell the difference between a ghost and a human given enough time. He noticed something was off about this spirit. Her soul chain was deteriorating at an alarming rate. He didn't exactly know what it was, but he had a feeling that it was bad. Ichigo focused on wanting to help the poor thing and walked closer to her. For the slightest second, everyone saw what appeared to be a Zanpakuto toe in Ichigo's hand. It's okay. Don't be scared. You'll feel better after you find peace. As for the Zanpakuto, it was more of a faint outline of one. And just wanting to help the poor thing, Ichigo had unknowingly performed a Kanso. That was all the evidence anyone needed. But they still wanted him tested for a quirk. Kisuke steps out, and Yoruichi yells at him for not handling that matter himself. I mean, he still had Benihime, so he should be able to perform a Kanso, right? Well, back to the point. Kisuke takes a good look at Ichigo. Is something wrong with me, Uncle Kisuke? Kisuke chuckled at the statement. Once again, I'm not even going to bother. Not at all, son. You just have a rather odd quirk. Ichigo knows what a Shinigami is, since he's been targeted by hollows due to his exceptionally high spiritual presence. He's even seen his daddy in his Shinigami form once or twice since, well, he woke up. Albeit that was 2 weeks. He's been awake for 2 weeks, but he did at least hear talk about Shinigamis. It's like, how can I say this? While seeing them is new, he's always been able to sense them and hear them at least. But the sight, actually seeing them, that's relatively new. The conversation with keeping that one to himself was set to a serious looking mommy and daddy, so even a toddler would get that they meant business. Since Ichigo had been aware of this for a while, at the very least he had been aware of spirits and all of that, so that's another reason why he didn't fall for Grand Fisher's gambit flat out. He knew something was amiss. So what is my quirk? Kisuke goes on to explain that he can't really measure his whole quirk, but it has something to do with the soul. It's called soul shift, Ichigo. A part of it allows us to gain powers like our daddy is using. A lollipop says they're gonna try to steal us all. They wouldn't do that, would they? If they knew the situation, they most certainly would. We ain't exactly what one would call normal, bro. Ichigo was silent. The voice talking to him was part of him and had been so all of his life. He usually only voiced himself when it came to their survival, so when he spoke, Ichigo listened, usually without complaints. So when he said something like that, it really made him scared. And Memories started rushing through his head that he didn't quite understand at the moment. The scared boy ran away. He had finally gotten his quirk, and now his family was trying to seal it away, or worse, seal the other him away. When Ichigo saw the needle, he flash-stepped away and ran rather quickly. Ishin didn't have a means for catching him in the form he was in, and Masaki didn't even stand a chance of catching him. However, the goddess of the flash step, Yoruichi, was another matter. Well, aren't you a spry one, hotshot? Don't be scared, baby. It's just a shot. There was pain on Yoruichi's face as she said that, and Ichigo saw it. As Yoruichi held on to Ichigo, he was resisting with all his might, hooting and hollering the whole way back to Kisuke. I know what's in that needle. You're trying to seal me away and delay the problem. Why do grown-ups want to take shortcuts so often? 3 times you've done this. 3! I don't stand a chance against you grown-ups, so get it over with if that's what you're gonna do. But if you do this again, I will not forget this time, and I'll hate you all from the depths of my soul. Yes, I know he's not speaking like a normal 5-year-old, but keep in mind the company he keeps. He's a smart cookie. The entire time, Ichigo was screaming, No, 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 no! I don't want that! Mommy, Daddy, please! Ichigo's parents were looking away, and he snapped against his parents once more. Cowards! You can't even stand to look me in the eye as this is happening. Especially you. Look at me, bitch! I'll let you decide which one he's talking to on that matter. Are you going to do this to Karin and Yuzu? Newsflash. I'm always going to attract spirits no matter what you do. What are you gonna do if I need to defend myself one day and I can't because you were too scared to let me be me? Your god-awful parents. If this is the way I'm gonna be treated, then I should have stayed dead. Yoichi put Ichigo down and immediately slapped him with full force. Tears in her eyes. Alright, young man. You've made your point. No need to twist the knife any further. I'm not going to hold you since you know you can't outrun me. As Kisuke makes his way to Ichigo, Yoruichi gets in the way. Stop, Kisuke. He remembers. That means this stuff has been losing its effect on him. What could happen if you increase the dosage any further? Kisuke flat out destroys the syringe. Sorry guys, can't do it. And I never really was gonna do it. I noticed the diminishing returns from the serum. He's made his choice, and to answer your question, possible permanent damage or loss of spiritual perception, meaning he wouldn't be able to run from a hollow if it was coming for him. Kisuke kneeled down to Ichigo's face level. Kid, the life you're choosing ain't an easy one. The two of you saw how fast Ichigo was. Yoruichi was the only one with a chance of catching him. Hun, how long have you been low-key teaching him, and how much have you taught him? Yes, you heard that right. While there aren't rings on their fingers, they're in a relationship. Yoruichi plays dumb, however Ishin glares at her. Then Ichigo notices something on Yoruichi's wrist. Hey, that looks like the collar I got that pretty black kitty. She was so cute and her coat was so really soft. She liked making me chase after her though, but she really loved it when I scratched her ears. Everyone looks at Yoruichi with different feelings behind the look. Ishin had anger, Kisuke surprise, and Masaki disgust. Come on, honey, let's go. Ichigo slaps Masaki's hand away. Don't touch me! The two of you don't even deserve to look at me right now. And at least Daddy knows it. Since Ichigo's outburst, Ishin had been avoiding his gaze. While Masaki had been doing the same, she picked a point to look at her son. The look he was giving her was breaking her heart. She knew that she had lost all faith her baby had in her through the look in his eyes. Of the 3 times Kisuke had given Ichigo the shot, he only wanted to do so once, but he reluctantly respected the wishes of his parents. They had the authority to make that choice for him at the moment, but not anymore, considering the stakes. What else have you been teaching him? Ishin asked Yoichi. Sweat drops on her. Well, he's been coming over to play with Tessai every now and again. Keisuke raised his hand as well. I've been teaching him sword play. If I had to guess, I'd say he's probably on the precipice of a 3rd seat in terms of sword play alone. Kid's been able to make me work for it as of late, or really make me have to get serious to it. That statement had won Ishin over. So what about spiritual power and control? Kisuke gave an honest answer. If we throw everything in like that, he's not seated officer material yet. But he could make a lieutenant work for it. That boy is destined for greatness. Saki was having no part in this and just wanted her baby to live a normal life. A life she only recently got and she had to basically stab her family in the back to get. But she had lost and she knew it. Okay. Train him properly then. I'll throw in when you think he's ready for it. Kisuke nods his head and Ishin grabs his wife. Come on. Ichigo doesn't want to look at us right now. We'll come back for you next week. Okay, son. Ichigo grunted and Ishin grumbled. You're too young to be a teenager. Yeesh. 2 years went by and Ichigo spent them training. Now, in terms of speed and swordplay, he's on lieutenant level, but throw in spiritual power and control, he's once again still not seated material. Unless you're going for, well, squad 11 really. We all know Ichigo has a massive amount of power under the hood, but he's a child, so he can't really control 10% of that power yet. He's far too young for that level. Ichigo is, in this instance, a glass cannon. Sure, he can fight really well, he has all that power, but eventually his stamina's gonna go down. According to Kisuke, he has learned all that they can teach him at the moment. But that's not bad for a 7-year-old, if you ask me. Now when I say 10%, I don't mean 10% of endgame Ichigo. That would be ridiculous. I mean 10% of Soul Society Ichigo. 10% of that power level is insane for a child to have, isn't it? Ichigo spent so much time at the Urahara residence that he had his own room there. And he even manned the shop from time to time. As a matter of fact, he was manning the shop today when the town's new Shinigami came in to purchase a few things. Welcome to Urahara's shop, Miss Shinigami. I'm Ichigo, and I'm on duty today. How may I help you? Ichigo had a goofy smile on his face, but he was staring right at her so it couldn't be discounted as a mistake. A child. Hard to believe that one so young is. For only but a second, she was blasted by a massive Reiatsu. The only one here is this child. It couldn't be. Could it? Sure, there were child prodigies like Captain Hitsugaya, but prodigies like that were once in a century. She would leave it there. Oh, you're new. I'll throw in a newbie kit for you. You don't look like you're seated, but you look like nobility of some sort, so might I hear your name, Miss Newbie? She didn't know whether to be impressed or annoyed at this child. She chose to swallow her pride since she needed to make a purchase. My name is Rukia Kuchiki of Squad 13. This town is now under my watch. She was going to say little boy, but she thought better of it. A full year goes by and Ichigo is now 8. Rukia would stop by from time to time and gather information. It surely wasn't because she had become fond of young Ichigo. Not at all. The day was his parents' anniversary, and as a gift to them, Ichigo opted to watch the twins for a few hours. Of course, they protested at first, but Mom, Dad, I fought Hollows and everyone in this family that actually has to try to take me down. I think I can handle 2 4-year-old girls. As a matter of fact, he was handling them quite well. They loved their big brother, and he loved them, so it went well enough to the point where they all went to bed early. But the girls wanted to sleep with their brother, so they're in their parents' room. It went too well, actually, though. Rukia felt a spike in activity and felt a pain in her heart when she realized where it was coming from. That's Ichigo's house! She went as fast as her Shunpo skills would allow. Rukia managed to get there in time to see a hollow encroaching on the Kurosaki home. She got there just as it was about to devour the sleeping Kurosaki children. Ichigo, wake up! Rukia's holler had stirred him from his slumber. The only reason he hadn't woken up due to the hollow coming earlier was his sisters had kind of worn him out. Playing, running, and all that jazz. While they weren't like him, it was still mentally tiring. Rukia utilized White Lightning and Geki to get closer. However, the hollow shakes off paralysis and strikes back. This hollow was tough. She had no other option. Dance! Soto no Shirayuki! Ichigo has seen Rukia's Shikai many times since he's provided her with a training ground to improve her skills. And maybe also low-key gave her some suggestions, so he knew to get the girls someplace safe. With a quick Shunpo, they were in the tub and the barrier was placed in the bathroom. While it could be broken, it was one that was prepped for this kind of matter at Ichigo's behest. Who's paranoid now, old man? First dance! Some no mai! A pillar of ice shot out, and I missed? How in the world did I miss? Both Ichigo and the hollow spoke at the same time. You're too slow, that's why. The hollow struck Rukia, and she went flying. Blood spewed out of her mouth when she landed near Ichigo. You know Shunpo. Take the girls and run. Ichigo spat at the ground. Won't get far with carrying them both. Not with a hollow that fast. Rukia gave in to the fact that Ichigo wasn't going to damn one of his sisters. Ichigo, take my Zanpakuto. I will transfer my... Ichigo stood in front of Rukia. It's time to shine, bro. Focus on your body and spirit. Call out your Quirk's name. Say the words. Be a Shinigami. Ichigo Kurosaki. Soul Shift! Let's be clear. I wanted to play number 1 for this, but I didn't feel like getting a CC on this video. So thus, this track instead. Back to it. In a flash, the hollow was struck back and Ichigo's Reiatsu was released. Before Rukia's eyes lay a childlike Shinigami. Ichigo? How? Ichigo hushed Rukia. You've done enough. It's my turn now. Ichigo pulled out his massive Zanpakuto and realized that Rukia had to release hers to fight this thing.
Hey, other me, are you in there? I'm sorry for doing this, but I need a shortcut. What's this thing's name? I know you know it.
The other Ichigo had a quick conversation, and what appeared to be an older-looking dude showed up. Zangetsu's speech was so great that I'm gonna paraphrase it while keeping it as close as possible. There's only one enemy, and there's one of you. What is there to fear? Abandon your fear, boy. Advance and face this so-called threat. He tried to take an inch, so let us take back a mile. Retreat is foolish. Try, and you're already dead. Hear my name and roar it out. My name is Zangetsu! Rukia was amazed. by what she was seeing.
You are a Shinigami. No matter. It's time to die.
Remember that 10% Ichigo was having trouble with? This release increased that, and his body was stronger now thanks to the soul shift. So he was at about double that. The hollow rushed Ichigo. Bad move. Ichigo used Shunpo to get behind it and slashed at the hollow, instinctively using a Getsuga. If you had asked him to do that again, I don't think he'd be able to do it. This was the stir of the moment, adrenaline pumping, full force type of deal. The hollow had been dealt with, and Rukia now had some questions. Rukia made her way to Ichigo, but it was rather painful to do so. Rukia clasped Ichigo's cheeks in her hands. Ichigo, how are you a Shinigami? You have a family, a normal family. Oh, how wrong she was. Well, I was able to shift like this because of my quirk. Soul shift. Idiot. Don't say it while touching a Shinigami. We have no idea what could happen. The two fell to the ground. Ichigo was on top of Rukia, so he rolled off of her, and she got up. Whatever that was, Ichigo, you could have given me some warning. Sorry, Rukia. Where are we? Ichigo and Rukia had landed smack dab in the middle of a meeting of captains. Byakuya was about to say something to his sister, but Yen Ryusai did so instead.
Rukia Kuchiki of Squad 13. Explain yourself at once.
If you liked that, let's get a United States smash on that like button. If you're not subscribed, consider going full howling with that subscribe button. And let's go plus ultra with the notifications. Ring that bell, baby. Rest easy, Deadites. And remember, the night is ours.